Good morning. How y'all doing this morning? When I say y'all, no one's even here yet because it takes a second to hit the interwebs. But excited to hang out with, of course, Dan. Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. And then excited to hang out with Kate. Kate, good morning.
Good morning.
So I had the unique opportunity to meet Kate at South by Southwest this year at a fun little shindig that the Gun.io crew threw. And so I was fascinated with the product. It's really cool. You know, Dan and I interview a lot of like tech nerds on this show, right? Like a lot of SaaS nerdy boys and girls. And it's always wonderful to be able to hang out with like non-techie people in an industry that's not obviously the same thing we constantly hear about. So excited to hang out with Kate, talk about Beni today. It's going to be very interesting. I will tell you this, if you like shopping, you should watch this. And if you are scrolling through your profile, and you're a husband and your wife likes to shop as much as my wife likes to shop, you can watch, but I would say maybe not share this, but also Kate will want you to share it. So it's a really conflict of interest this morning.
It's good for everybody if you share.
It's good. Yeah, exactly. So excited to dive in today. So before we dive in, of course, Unicorn Finders, Dan and I have been at this thing for 4 years now. We interview up and coming companies you probably haven't heard of yet, that are doing really cool shit. Right. That's really kind of our official slogan. So excited to hang out with Kate today. So Kate, take it away. Give a quick background about yourself at a high level, and then let's dive into what Beni is.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was so fun meeting you at South by, and I love any opportunity to talk about what we're doing. So really, really excited to be here. My background, I spent 8 years in the beer business running, doing marketing for Bud Light and Michelob Ultra, and then ultimately launched Bud Light Seltzer. So stories for other days, but lots of fun tales in the beer business. Ultimately, when COVID hit, I decided to go back to business school and really loved the idea of marketing and trying to understand why people do what they do and get them to change their behavior in some way, but wanted to apply that to something that I felt would be a really net positive for the end user and ultimately for the world. And so landed at Kellogg Business School, where I met my co-founder, Sarah. And she really came in, she had the original idea for Beni, and she was coming at it from a sustainability perspective. So this idea that people are really open to the idea of shopping secondhand, right? Like they kind of understand the proposition. I can find cooler things at better prices. It's a more sustainable way to shop. But ultimately, very few people actually act on that intention. And so did some digging to say, well, why is that? Why are so many people kind of open to this idea, but not taking the action? And search and discovery was a huge issue. And so what we created in Beni is a browser extension and a web plugin on your phone or on your computer, where essentially you can, rather than having to go to all of these resale sites and open up all these different tabs, you can just shop the way you're used to shopping. And if you find something that you like, you can click on Beni and we'll show you where that thing exists on a secondhand marketplace. So she came at it really from the sustainability side. It's like, we've got to solve this problem in the fashion industry. I was really energized because I'm a shopper, and I'm like, now I found myself in grad school without an income and living that kind of on a student budget again. And I'm like, man, I'm used to buying the clothes that I want from the brands that I like. And I need to find a way to get them at more affordable prices. And so it was kind of this perfect fit. I was like, if you can make it easy enough for me to do this, then like we're really onto something, because we can bring all of these shoppers into the world of resale. And if you can do that at scale, you start to make a much more circular and sustainable system. And then ultimately brought on a technical co-founder, because the technology to power that. So Celine Lightfoot is our technical co-founder and CTO, and she built the infrastructure to say, okay, we have 250 million resale listings. How do we bring all of that messy data in? It's all one of one, normalize it so that as you're shopping, we can be, in 1-2 seconds, pinging our database of listings and showing you the thing that is most similar to what you're searching for. So yeah, that was the impetus of Beni. We're celebrating our 3rd birthday tomorrow, actually. So it has been a really fun journey. Thank you.
Unicorn Finders. You heard it here first.
Wow.
Yeah, we're like the awkward toddler stage, You're like,
I love it.
Kind of making
I have
sense
an almost 4-year-old. I can't confirm. You're 3 going on 4, and you're acting like you're 16. So that is my daughter.
Yep.
Question about just kind of, and again, we'll share screen here in a few minutes to go over Beni. I'd love to see it, but I mean, when it comes to how people can use it, the ease of use. I mean, obviously, and then the web scraping too. I mean, can you kind of get into how it all works together? You know, some people are like, there's no way I could probably find everything online. I mean, you demoed it for me. We'll demo it here in a second. I mean, it really does. But can you just talk about the focus of what you learned from the discovery portion of what people really want, and then how you kind of integrated that to make it easy to use? Because I feel like in this situation, it's got to be easy to use, or people aren't gonna do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when we started, you know, there were other tools out there that were kind of the search engine for resale. And so you could go to those.
Is there an example you can give of another tool that was out there?
Like Gem Search, I think, is doing a good job.
Okay, cool.
And you can go to Gem and you can type in, you know, something that you're looking for and see resale listings for it from similar platforms. I think the thing for us, and so Gem is a great tool if you're already thinking secondhand first. If you're already like, I love vintage, I want to shop more sustainably, and you're committed to that path and it is your starting place, those tools are awesome. I think when we thought about where there's the opportunity to have the most impact, and ultimately where there's the opportunity to influence the norms of consumption, like we say, our mission is to transform the norms of consumption. In order to do that, we can't just go to people who are already thrifting and already shopping secondhand.
Right.
Instead, we needed to intercept shoppers who are defaulting to new right now because they don't have a better alternative, or they don't have an alternative that's as easy. And so our mission was kind of, if we can make shopping secondhand as easy as it is to buy new, if we can intercept you where you get the Instagram, you know, we're not trying to change how you shop. We're just you know, integrating into the way you shop so that you can get the Instagram ad and you can go to the site. But when you get there, before you click new, in that like split second, we pop up with this nudge that is basically just saying, hey, think about it. Like before you buy this new, did you know it already exists on a resale site for 50% less? And I think the onus there is really, how do we just arm the shopper with information? And our hypothesis, which is proving out and is really exciting, is like, if you arm them with information, the resale option becomes the obvious choice oftentimes. And it won't be the obvious choice every time. You know, there's certain occasions or there's certain items where you're like, I just really want this thing, or I want it to be new. But if we can just get 1 in 5 purchases to be, you know, secondhand instead of new, we can have massive impact. And so it really is less about how many purchases are we driving? And it's more how many purchases that were going to be new are now converted to secondhand purchases. And if you think about that over time, like it does a couple things. Instead of racing to the bottom where we get like the cheapest, most quickly made things. At every level, what resale does is allow you to ladder up. So it's like, okay, I can either get the thing I was going to buy at a lower price, or maybe at the same price, I can get a higher quality thing. And so then you start laddering up and you start making these better made, higher quality brands accessible to the mass market. And as you do that at every level, the demand for all the stuff at the bottom starts to go away. And you know, that will be a long journey and is like a big vision for us, but I think is one that's really exciting to think about. So we want to be the welcoming party to the world of resale is how we think about Beni. It's like, if you don't know where to start, download Beni, and we will like tag along, and we will be kind of your coach as you make this transition.
I love that. Have you seen, I mean, with the market the way it is, I mean, I definitely, depending on which business report you're reading, the consumer softening, yada, yada. Are you guys seeing an uptick? I mean, are you guys, because you would think if the consumer softening, right? Gucci's saying sales, I didn't read that. I'm just saying if these designer brands are saying they're down, have you guys seen an uptick at all?
I think it's hard for us to say like what we've seen in like the full trends, because we're growing, but we're a small company that's like growing rapidly. So it's hard to say we're seeing a lot of growth, but we're not at the scale where we can say like our growth is representative of the the industry. I think what is interesting for brands, and I think a shift that's just starting to happen right now, but I think is really interesting, is that resale is starting to be seen as a customer acquisition tool for brands. And so if you think about a brand, a lot of brands are starting to build their own resale platforms. And we actually integrate on our site with Treat and with Trove. So we have, Patagonia worn wear listings coming through Beni. Resale, though, because you're able to offer it at a discount, is a really nice way to bring in the next generation, the next wave of consumers at that lower price point. But instead of doing it by saying 60% off flash sale, you're saying, hey, this is such a quality brand. It stands the test of time. And like the secondary market, it's still a great quality piece and you can get it for 60% off. And like, I think brands are starting to experiment with that quite a bit, because resale can be a really powerful customer acquisition tool, even if there's less disposable income in people's pockets and they're starting to be more conscious of how they're spending. Like you can use it to build brand loyalty without cheapening the mainline brand.
Taylor, do you want to get into a quick demo? Because I've got questions post demo.
Yeah. Let's go ahead. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and demo it. So, okay, I think the best way to do this is go ahead and share your screen. Like at the bottom, it says present. At StreamYard, click present, click the tab, and then I have to throw it up. Since I'm like the driver, I have to throw it up on the
okay, can you see this?
There it is.
Yeah, here we go. Love this.
Okay, awesome. So
relax, Taylor.
I'm getting married in January, and so
Congrats.
have been doing a lot of shopping for white things, and I think bridal specifically as a category with resale, that's awesome because people, brides wear it one time or maybe don't even wear it and then relist it. But so found this awesome dress on Reformation. It's $278. If I click on Beni, it pops up right here and says, hey, there's one that's new without tags on Poshmark right now for $220. And it will try to find me if there's an exact match. It'll show that first. We'll also show similar items. So maybe I'm looking at this, but actually like this one that maybe was from last season, Reformation, would work as well. Or maybe one of these would work. And so we'll show you all the things that are relevant, trying to get you an exact match if it exists, but also showing similar alternatives. And then if you click view, it just takes you out to the resale marketplace and you can purchase right there in one click.
Man.
On my own screen too.
That seems really simple.
It's super simple. You can also just some other features. You can save things, so you can save them for later if you are just in mode of shopping and you're not ready to make the purchase. And then you can see all the things that you've saved. So obviously you can see what I'm in shopping for right now.
I love it.
And then say you get here and you're like, there's not something great, but I really want this dress. You can set a search alert and save that. And then we'll continue to ping our database every day because millions of listings are getting added every day. And sometimes it's just a matter of time before it gets listed. So if you set a search alert, we'll keep searching and we'll send you an email or a notification when we find something. And then you can add your sizes. You can add additional filters. I think there's nothing worse than, finding an awesome deal and it being in the wrong size. So we just tell people definitely set your size profile up right when you get started and we'll do that filtering for you so you don't have any of those disappointing moments. But hoping to make it really easy. One click for you to save money and shop more sustainably.
So from a data perspective, how does it work? Does somebody need to put in that the dress is from Reformation? And I know that like Poshmark and all that stuff will ask you for the design company or the company that you bought it from, et cetera, and size and all that. But sometimes people struggle with putting in exact similar details. Like they might not know that was called the I don't remember. It was called Aria dress. I don't remember. Does your data scrape to images as well as data that's being put in, or how does that work from a scraping perspective?
Yeah, so we're scraping the mainline site to try to pull out what someone is searching for. On the inventory side, we made the really strategic decision early on to not scrape and to actually take the time and build relationships with each of these resale marketplaces so that we can have direct access to their APIs. Because the thing about resale is that everything is one of one. And so inventory is changing over really quickly. And if you have a bad experience because it's the wrong size, the even worse experience is that you click on something and it's already sold out. And so we wanted live data streams from our partners so that everything was up to date all the time. And as things were selling, like they'd be removed from the database rather than us kind of trying to scrape everything. The world of resale is messy because that data is input by a lot of humans, and humans write small, medium, small but fits like a large, small but loose in the hips.
Yeah.
And so I think there's 100,000 different ways that someone can categorize size. And part of what we're building to be able to do this is algorithms to normalize that data and say, okay, I see you said small but fits like a medium and it's this brand. How I'm interpreting that is that it actually falls in this bucket. So when I'm comparing, I can do that as accurately as possible. But the short answer is that we work directly with our partners to try to get as clean of data as we can. And then a lot of what we're building is how we actually normalize that data to make it actionable.
Yeah. That's incredible. That's really, really cool. And then I presume from a business perspective, you guys make money off of driving referrals too.
Yeah. So we're completely free to the user, which makes it a really easy one-click install. And then we make money. We're, essentially a customer acquisition tool for these marketplaces. So we're driving traffic and new buyers to their sites, and then they're giving us a cut of the purchase.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I think it's really cool too. I like that save feature too. Can you share your profiles with us? Because I'm thinking like if my wife uses that to shop, she can just share her wish list and then I can just go in and just surprise her with something. Is that possible? Like, can you share?
I love that you asked this because I was just working with our engineers yesterday. We just launched a new feature called collections, where similar to Instagram, like if you save a post, you can put it into a bucket. You now will be able to save a find into a collection. So I can be a little bit more organized and saying like, these are the things I may be thinking about for bridal, but this is the things I'm thinking about maybe for a summer vacation. But as you build those, I think there's awesome power of community in this space where people, it's fun to go on and see what you can find. And oftentimes, we hear from people that they are trying to get their friends to shop more sustainably. They're trying to get their friends into secondhand, and they find awesome things. And they're like, I want to be able to share these with my friends. And so have built kind of the community aspect of that where you can see other people's collections. And so if you're out there and you're shopping and you have that moment where you're like, this is objectively an amazing find. Like, I don't need it, or it's not in my size, but like someone should have this, that you can save it down and then the community will be able to see that. So it's not just, Beni as an algorithm popping up in the moment, but it's also, we have this army of Benis out there who are, bringing people into the world of resale and helping them find awesome finds.
How did you guys get started? So you have an idea. What's the first thing that you guys did to create? Because this is a large undertaking. There's a lot of relationships that you have to build. There's a lot of integrations that you have to have. Obviously, we'll take the technical piece out of it, but how did you guys ultimately start this business from conception to business plan to ultimately like, all right, now we got to start pounding the phones and figuring out what we're going to do?
Yeah. So the nice thing is we were in business school at the time, and Sarah actually had the original idea and pitched it at a case competition and ended up winning and got a decent amount of funding from winning with the concept. And I think that gave her kind of the moment of, okay, I'm going to spend my business school time, like really thinking hard about this idea and what it could become. And then we went into Kellogg has kind of a startup incubator program. And so she built out a team. That's where I kind of came in. And so we spent a lot of time in business school, which I think there's a lot of luxury in building a business there because you can get a lot of grant funding. We got a lot of we got a lot of resources for free to kind of test the waters. The original test was really, can we get our friends to send us links of things that they want to buy? Can we go manually shop secondhand sites for them and then send them back a list of links? Wow. And if we send them back and I say, hey, you were looking for these Gucci loafers, I just, in 24 hours did some digging myself and found you these 3 options. How many times did they convert? And what we were seeing is that, 20% of the time people were converting on that sale, which is way higher than any sort of, purchase rate from a random ad. Yeah.
3%.
Well, and you like fought against like the impulse, right? I feel like a lot of people buy on impulse right away, and you were saying 24 hours after, so that impulse kind of purchase is gone. Now it's still a high conversion rate, so that's really good.
Yeah. So a lot of manual matching, and then it was the moment of like, okay, this MVP is proven that if we make it easier, people will do it. But ultimately, how do you scale that? How would you do it? And how would you do it instantly? Because to your point, you need to be there in the moment that they're shopping. Like 24 hours works for our friends who we're testing it with, but like it isn't realistic in kind of the actual business. And so quickly, Sarah found Celine, and Celine kind of had the technical chops to think about, okay, if we were going to build this system, how would we build it? And so the rest is kind of history. Had just started with the idea and have slowly been making. Actually, it feels like we've been moving very quickly, but have just been, every day trying to make improvements to make it better and better.
So I know Dan bounce here in a few minutes. What's next for Beni? Like, obviously you took a new spot again. Congratulations on being CEO. Without, kind of opening up the cabinets to everything, just what's your vision? What are you passionate about?
Yeah. I think what I'm really excited about is that, we spent the first 2 years really heads down building the technology, and it took a lot of time to kind of get it to a place where you're like, okay, this more often than not is able to return a result. And when it returns a result, it's a good result. And the ranking feels, there's always going to be areas to improve there, but it feels like the cadence of people who are, commenting on our Instagram or reaching out to me personally or sending us messages saying like, oh my God, it worked. And when it works, it's magic. Like the frequency of that happening has just exploded over the last couple of months. And I think that feels really exciting because we haven't spent a lot on marketing. We're about 70,000 users now, but I think we're just at we're like starting to get to this tipping point where the product is good enough that it can really lend itself to a lot of word of mouth growth. I'm really excited about this collections piece because I think in this space, the power of community is so strong. So many people like are active. I think it's really rare. Like one of the reasons I am so passionate about this business is that it's really rare to find a super simple idea that is also hitting this like cultural conversation, like in the moment that the conversation's exploding. Right. And we kind of have this, we're like perfectly positioned as the first step in that conversation. So we were just shouted out actually organically on Good Morning America. And to me, it was like,
no way.
It was That's like, awesome. Here's all the problems with fast fashion and this whole beautiful segment that Ginger Z did. And then the end was like, so what can you do about it? And it just like perfectly crystallized what we're doing. Cause the answer was basically what you can do about it is like, download Beni, and that can be your one step to start. And from there, like, over time we'll help coach this habit. So I think there's a lot of, I'm excited to fuel the growth. I think we're finally at a place from a product perspective where I want to get as many eyeballs on this as possible. And then I think, the community piece, as we bring more people in, we're starting to partner with a lot of stylists. We're starting to think about all the other pieces that are connected into the resale industry and how do we not just build this one product, but really like accelerate this movement towards the adoption of resale as a way of consuming.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I love
That's so
it.
cool.
I already downloaded it, ready to go.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm gonna tell my wife to download it because I think she'll love this. Well, Kate, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Real quick, where can people find you? How can people reach out to you if they want to hear more?
First, download Beni. So joinbeni.com. It's
Download
one
Beni.
click. You can do it on Chrome desktop.
Dan did it.
Dan did it. So anyone can do it. Yeah.
If anybody can do it, yeah.
We also have a mobile app, and you can get the Beni extension if you're a Safari user on mobile too. So super easy to set up. Definitely check it out there. And then you can find the company join_Beni on all the social channels. And you can find me on LinkedIn. So definitely reach out. Would love to chat.
I love it. Well, y'all, thank you again for hanging out with us this morning. We appreciate it. Definitely have some views on my analytics thing that only I can see. So definitely people watch. We appreciate you all. You guys have a great one. We'll see y'all next week, next Thursday for Unicorn Finders. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Not with me. See you guys.